This week, the ABC did something simple but powerful. Instead of quoting economists and politicians about the housing crisis, they asked ordinary Australians one direct question: are you priced out of a home? Thousands of people responded, and the stories that came back paint a picture of a country that has split in two, where whether you can own a home depends less on how hard you work and more on where you live and when you were born. Today, instead of the usual numbers, we're going to listen to those actual voices, because sometimes the real story of a crisis isn't in the statistics, it's in the people living it. Let's start with a story that captures the whole problem in one family. Mike Carter is 68, from Kingswood in South Australia. He spent the second half of his career as a real estate agent, so this is someone who knows the property market from the inside. He bought a home for his family, and a second property as an investment that he rents out. He did, in other words, exactly what his generation was told to do. And it worked, for him. But listen to what he says now. He believes the housing market, in his words, needs to be corrected somewhat. He thinks it wouldn't be a problem if prices just stagnated for the next 20 years. This is a retired real estate agent and property investor, saying the market he profited from is broken and needs to stop growing. And here's why. His daughter, he says, is a professionally employed human being with a partner. She earns a good living, about $120,000 a year. And at this stage, Mike says, she would not be able to afford land with a house on it. His words: at this stage she would not be able to afford land with a house on it. Sit with that. A household with a professional earning $120,000, well above the median wage, can't buy a block of land with a house on it. In the assessment of her own father, who sold real estate for a living, that's not a story about someone who made bad choices or didn't work hard enough. That's a story about a market that has moved beyond the reach of even solidly middle-class earners. Now let's travel to the other side of this divide, because the crisis looks completely different, depending on where you are on the map. Mount Isa, in remote northwest Queensland. Emma Scott is 31. She and her family bought a 4-bedroom home for under $350,000. Let that number land for a second. A 4-bedroom house, for less than the deposit on some Sydney properties. Emma put it this way: we have friends that live on the coast, and their rent is almost double what we pay in repayments. Read that again. Her mortgage repayments on a 4-bedroom house are less than half what her friends pay just to rent on the coast. She owns a family home outright bound, while friends on the coast are pouring double that into someone else's mortgage with nothing to show for it. That's the geographic lottery of Australian housing in 2026. The same income, the same life stage, the same effort, but wildly different outcomes, depending purely on your postcode. In a regional mining town, home ownership is genuinely within reach for a young family. On the coast or in a capital city, that same family would be locked out for years, maybe forever. But and this is important, even the regional good news stories come with a warning attached. Back in Mount Isa, another resident, Sarah Horner-Glister, pointed out that housing affordability is actually a major reason young people stay in the region longer than they planned. She said people come here thinking they'll work for 2 years, but end up literally buying a house. The affordability keeps them there. That sounds positive, and in a way it is. But there's a catch that residents themselves are flagging. New builds in Mount Isa cost more than many existing homes sell for, and much of the town's housing stock is decades old. So the town could soon face a shortage of suitable, modern homes, because no one can justify building new ones when existing houses sell for less than construction costs. It's a strange inversion of the capital city problem. In Sydney, there aren't enough homes and prices are impossibly high. In Mount Isa, homes are affordable, but the economics of building new ones don't stack up. So the supply of decent housing could actually shrink over time. Different symptoms, but both ultimately a supply problem. So what do these voices, taken together, actually tell us about the state of Australian housing? First, they confirm that this is no longer just a problem for the poor or the unlucky. When a real estate agent's daughter earning $120,000 can't buy land, the crisis has climbed well up the income ladder. It's reaching people who, by every traditional measure, did everything right, got the education, got the professional job, earned well above average, and still can't get in. Second, they show that Australia has effectively become two different housing markets. There's the capital city and coast market, where prices have detached from local incomes and ownership is slipping out of reach for a whole generation. And there's the regional and remote market, where ownership is still achievable, but comes with trade-offs: fewer jobs, aging housing stock, distance from family and services. Third, and this is the quiet tragedy in the data, they reveal that the great Australian assumption is breaking down. For generations, the deal was simple: work hard, save, and you'll own a home. That was the promise. These voices are the sound of that promise, failing for people who held up their end of it. There's a generational dimension running through all of this that's worth naming directly. Mike Carter, the 68-year-old, owns 2 properties. He got into the market at a time when a single income could buy a family home, and prices then rose for decades, building his wealth. That wasn't greed, it was just the era he lived through. But his daughter, doing everything he did and earning good money, is locked out. Same family, same values, completely different outcome, purely because of when they were each born. This is the heart of what makes the housing crisis so politically explosive. It's not really rich versus poor. It's increasingly old versus young. A generation that got in and watched their homes make them wealthy, and a generation that's paying record rents, while saving for a deposit that keeps getting further away. And often, as in the Carter family, those 2 generations are sitting at the same dinner table. It's why so many older Australians, like Mike, are now saying the market needs to correct, even though a correction would reduce the value of their own homes. They're watching their own kids get locked out, and deciding that their children's future matters more than their property values. That's a genuinely significant shift in attitude, and you can hear it directly in these voices. So where does this leave things? The government points to its $47 billion Homes for Australia plan, its shared equity help to buy scheme, the 5% deposit scheme that's helped 250,000 first home buyers, and its budget changes to negative gearing. The Prime Minister has said bluntly that anyone who thinks the current housing market is working is, in his words, bonkers, and that his government is finally attempting genuine tax reform to address it. Critics say it's too little, too slow, and doesn't touch the core problem. Australia simply isn't building enough homes fast enough where people actually want to live. And the voices in this ABC piece, the daughter on 120K who can't buy land, the coastal renters paying double amount ISA mortgage, are the human evidence that whatever's been tried so far hasn't closed the gap. What these stories make clear is that this isn't an abstract policy debate. It's Emma in Mount Isa, grateful but watching the town's housing age. It's Mike in Kingswood, a property investor hoping prices fall for his daughter's sake. It's a professional earning 6 figures who still can't buy dirt. These are the real stakes. And until the voices in stories like this one start sounding more hopeful, no amount of political messaging about plans and funds is going to convince Australians the crisis is being solved. So I want to turn it over to you, the same way the ABC did. Are you priced out of a home? Have you given up, or found a way in? Did you have to move regional to make it work, and was it worth it? Or did you buy years ago and watch your kids get locked out? Drop your story in the comments. This is one of those issues where the real picture comes from real people, not headlines. I read every comment, and I genuinely want to hear where you're at. Like and subscribe for more Australian news explained simply. See you next time.